Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages, welcome to today's coaching campfire. We are going to be outlining your eCourses. So I'm sharing the screen. We're going to go over to a little PowerPoint presentation, and here we are. So we are going to be designing your course curriculum and student learning journey. This was awesome. I woke up at 5 a.m. today. It's a Monday. And I just had to get out of bed and make this little presentation that we're going to go through today. So this is a workshop. This isn't just going to be me talking. There's going to be moments where we pause and you're going to do exercises. My intention for this is that you create a really rough, sketched in version of your course outline. I'm just going to start with outlining the current problem. So the e-learning industry is a $200+ billion industry that's failing its customers, aka students, severely. Online courses have a 70 to 97% student dropout rate, depending on whether you're asking Forbes or Seth Godin. So in our opinion, Andy and me, as we developed the Great eCourse Adventure and really started to geek out on online education and experience design and online learning, all these different things. The answer is pretty clear if you look at how people are interacting with social media and how much our attention spans have deteriorated over the last decade since the internet's really taken over our lives, is that we like to be entertained, is the bottom line. And most online courses and student learning experiences are PowerPoints and PDFs, and it can be extremely dry, as we all know. So that was kind of the turning point for us with the Great eCourse Adventure, to begin carving this path of building courses that are works of art. And so we, as in all of us who are part of the Great eCourse Adventure, we're all feeling this deeper calling to really help students learn and transform. And to do this, we believe that we have to make courses more exciting than all the other distractions at our students' fingertips. And so the way that we've learned to do this is to merge art and entertainment, gamification, themification, storytelling, and all forms of media to help students get the results that they signed up for. So I know we can all vouch that we've signed up for many email lists and many courses and many free ebooks and other things that we never ended up using. And so the question is, why did we not take advantage of these gifts that were given to us? Was it that they had no value, or was it that they were incredibly dry or boring, or we had other priorities, or we allowed distractions to take away our time so that we didn't have the time left over to invest ourselves? Whatever it is, it seems as though we can always find the time to scroll that Facebook wall. We can always find the time to binge watch a little bit of Netflix here and there. We can always find the time to do these other things. So what is it about online education? The things that we know could change our lives, that we could have a better reality in a month from now or in a year from now if we were to really invest ourselves in some of these online education experiences. Like the Great eCourse Adventure, for instance. You signed up for this because you want to build a course. And if you really, really want to get the results, then you charge to launch summits and you start saying no to more things and yes to this more often. But so often our students sign up with the best of intentions and they stop themselves. And I just want to say, like, with us with the Great eCourse Adventure, this is still an enormous learning curve. We're still, just babies in this world of online education, and the whole industry itself is a baby. But what we've learned is it's a lot more exciting for people to go through courses like the Great eCourse Adventure and other ones that are being created on the mountain than a boring PowerPoint PDF. And I know that's ironic because this is a PowerPoint that we're doing right now. So bear with me. So there are three key components for making a great eCourse that we've really narrowed it down to. And the first one is you have to have an awesome curriculum. You've got to have a curriculum that moves people forward, that actually teaches them the skills that they signed up for. In the Great eCourse Adventure, we had to design a curriculum that teaches you everything you know about planning, creating the curriculum, doing all of the media, your platform, gamifying it, building a community, marketing, launching, all of that stuff had to be encompassed into the Great eCourse Adventure, which is why it's 92 lessons long, because there's a lot of steps involved to actually create and launch a course. That's why we encourage people, like, start with a mini course, because it's a lot less steps for you to take. So the curriculum consists of your checkpoints or modules. And so that, for us, like the Great eCourse Adventure, there's 14 checkpoints. And then inside of each checkpoint is a bunch of lessons or steps, as we call them. And so the way to look at your curriculum is the checkpoints are kind of mini transformations on your way up to Launch Summit. So there, one checkpoint might be you learn to do your videos. Another checkpoint might be you design your curriculum. And so each checkpoint is meant to be a transformation that they get on the way to the ultimate transformation. And we'll kind of repeat this a little bit as we go to really ground it home. And then the lessons or the steps that you take along the way, those are kind of the individual things that you have to do in order to achieve that mini transformation. And so it might require 4 short lessons in order to get that result, or 4 individual steps to get it. And the other piece about the curriculum is how you deliver the media, and then scripting, handouts, record it, edit it, upload it, and autorespond. So these are kind of the steps that we take. When I'm working with a client, and I've got quite a few right now who I'm working with privately, and this is the order in which we go, is we come up with the end transformation. And we're going to do an exercise in a moment. But once you define your end transformation, for us with the Great eCourse Adventure, it was create the greatest eCourse you could possibly imagine. Blair and I right now are working on the Green Screen Magic course. We're putting in a day tomorrow to really get some momentum behind it. And for that, we want to equip you with the necessary tools to be able to create engaging learning worlds, that you could essentially have the tools at your fingertips and the skills that you need to create really engaging learning experiences, that you could put slides behind you, that you could superimpose yourself into a world, that you could have a few skills to build a background behind you, that you could do lighting that makes it look real when you're sitting in a scene, all that sort of stuff. And so you start with the broad strokes of what are the individual chapter titles as you go. And again, we're gonna come back to this in a moment. So let's just move on to the second one. So the first is curriculum. The second is experience. So once you have the curriculum, you have to wrap that in some form of experience that makes people want to stick around, that feels like they're a part of something that's bigger than just this little course that you're doing. And so that's where the themification comes in. That's where turning a course on building courses into a journey up a mountain makes it this more experiential journey where, you're a character in the story. That's where gamification comes in, by giving people rewards. For us, the badges and the currency, and also that you can actually cash that in and earn different things. And then challenges. This has been, as far as successes go, we've been really delighted at how the monthly challenges have gone for us since we started them probably, I don't know, maybe a year ago now. And then the experience is also the calls to action. How do you take people from screen time to real world action, where you're giving them real things to go do so that they can integrate the lessons that you're teaching in the videos. So for example, with the Green Screen Magic course, we're not just going to teach you a lesson. The way that we're designing the course is actually really exciting and I think kind of innovative, is when each lesson, so the first lesson, I'll just give you kind of a sneak preview idea, is the scene is an elevator ride, and you have to videotape yourself on the elevator, and then all of a sudden Blair walks in, and it's a long elevator ride, there's elevator music, and Blair looks at you and says, long elevator ride. What do you do? And you have 20 seconds to give your elevator pitch and tell him what you do. And he says, cool. And he walks off the elevator. And that's the end of the scene. And so basically, we're going to equip you with the background. We're going to equip you with Blair, the elevator music, all of the things that you need to recreate that scene. And then you have to go away and shoot it on your green screen, and then add in the background, add in Blair, add in the elevator music, and you recreate it. And we're going to equip you with a step-by-step process of exactly how you do it. Blair's going to guide you through the whole editing process to get the right lighting right, to get the sound right, all of that sort of stuff. And so each one will just be like a little mini step. And by the end of it, you'll have recreated that scene exactly how we created it. And so that one's, I'm pretty excited for anybody doing technical stuff. This is something that I think is kind of a breakthrough for us when we were designing this course, is to give people the media. So in the second scene, the second scene, we're actually going to give you a script that you have to read, so you learn about scripting. Or reading a script from the teleprompter, and all these different things that we learned with the Great eCourse Adventures. So that Green Screen Magic course is going to be 3 lessons or 3 modules, and each one will be a different scene that you have to recreate, and they get a little bit more complex each time. And then also within those lessons, you actually have to you have to teach, you have to do your thing. You have to pretend like you're at a networking party and like really pitch yourself and communicate what you do and the value you provide clearly. So it's also going to be a boot camp in that. We're stoked about it. So that's part of the experiential thing, is for that course, is providing you with the materials, giving you really specific, now we're going to edit in this part. And as you notice with the Great eCourse Adventure, each lesson is teaching one topic, and it has like a really specific call to action or several next steps that you have to take in order to get to the next phase of the journey up the mountain. And that was a lesson that we learned because the eCourse blueprint was essentially 9 modules, but each module was one lesson, and the lesson was 40 to 60 minutes long. It was just way too much information with too many action steps. And so we learned, and I know Marisa Murgatroyd from Experience Products, she talks about this a lot, is you've got to give people you have to give them a win. You have to give them consistent, easy wins. And that's why one lesson, one call to action helps them. It's like, this is the next step you have to take in order to move towards whatever the launch summit of your course is. And the last part of experience here is the quality of experience. And that goes into like really producing your best work, taking the time to do the scripting and the storyboarding, taking the time to produce well thought out videos and to create a course that you're really proud of. And then the third piece, so we've got curriculum, experience, and community. This is the third pillar. Now, a lot of courses out there, they focus mostly on the curriculum. I'm going to teach you this. I'm going to give you this information. And they focus a lot less on the experience of how do you make this enjoyable for people? How do you draw them in? Or how do you hook them into the learning journey so that they actually stick around? And the third pillar is the community. Now, a lot of the communities that exist out there are in Facebook groups. And as we're all noticing, well, I'm not noticing anymore because I left Facebook, but it's getting more and more crowded and noisy and chaotic. And it's hard to keep up, which is why I really love the forum. That's why I also love what Mighty Networks is creating. And we'll get into Mighty Networks later on in the Q&A section, because I've got some great updates on them. And so building your community is such a key part. Having a group of people that are all going through the same transformation together really helps with the accountability factor that you don't typically get in online learning. Usually it's like you sign up and you're going through this and it's a lonely journey, and you have to be really self-motivated and disciplined to complete a course. Whereas if you're in a classroom, if you're going to university, you're in there. There's a professor, there's other students, you've got homework and tests and all that sort of stuff. And so you're kind of accountable. And otherwise you drop out or you get kicked out. And so your community is a huge part of it. And I've been so grateful and excited to watch this progress over the last couple of years. And when we upgrade to an easier community to navigate, I think it's going to be even better. So one element of the community is that there's a shared purpose. And you, being the creator of the community, get to decide what is the shared purpose. For us with the Great eCourse Adventure, we're people that really want to build awesome online courses. Like, we're not in this to get rich quick. We're in this to build our best work. And so that's the next thing, is the community culture. And the community culture is a shared set of values and beliefs that everybody can say, yeah, I'm in. That's my people. And when you build the culture, it can get to a certain point. And we're still not there with the Great eCourse Adventure, but I believe we're definitely making progress. And I see, some of you out there that are your major pillar in the Great eCourse Adventure community, that we wouldn't be here if you weren't so active in the community and supporting each other and adding your feedback to other people's projects and like being present and doing your progress logs. Like that is a huge part. You are feeding the culture. And eventually, when the culture gets strong enough, it starts to take care of itself. And me or you being the leader of that can you're less important because everybody's taking care of everybody. And that's really what we want in these online communities, is that you feed it and it starts to feed itself. And that's where the participation comes in, is to make it a desirable experience for people to keep coming back to your community because there's so much value there. And the reason we keep going back to things like Facebook and Instagram is because they're gamified to give us these little dopamine rushes that make us come back. It's not because it's fulfilling us in any positive way. It's because they programmed it to be like that so that we get addicted to it. It's more of a drug, whereas we want to create a space where people are learning and growing and transforming, and they feel so grateful for the value that they're receiving by showing up into your community each and every day. And the more that they participate, the more they get back. That's the end goal of the community piece. So now we're going to dig into some of the exercises. So get your journal ready, get your notebook ready, whatever you've got, open a page. We're going to have some pauses. And if at any point during the exercises you have a question or anything you want to share, feel free to ask. I'll be sitting here in silence for pieces of it, or chiming in if you have a question. And I can't see the questions right now because I'm on the share screen, so I'll have to bounce over to that. So the first step to making your great e-course is to design your course curriculum. So the launch summit, where are you leading people? What is the end result? What is the transformation? That should be summarized in one sentence. Like that end result, the end transformation. For my first meditation course that I ever led, it was 21 days. The end transformation is you have a daily meditation habit that you love and look forward to. That was it. That was like the whole purpose of the course. With the Great eCourse Adventure is to create the greatest e-course you can possibly imagine. Now, for us, like the disclaimer of that statement is, it might take you 3 courses before you can create the greatest e-course you can possibly imagine because of the steep learning curve. You're not just climbing a hill, you're climbing Everest here. And so it takes a few times up the mountain to really get your footing and to grasp all this. So your launch summit is going to be summarized. And then the checkpoints are like chapter titles. The lessons are the individual steps within a checkpoint. Your media is the video, audio, PDF, live coaching, etc. The scripting and storyboarding is your preparation to record. I did several years with my meditation courses where I just went into my filming days and I just totally winged it. I had an idea for the lesson and I just winged it from there. And I had to redo those videos so many times. And for those of you in the Great eCourse Adventure, the higher up the mountain you go, the better it gets, because the more dialed into our scripting we got, the better we got at adding in really cool backgrounds and just storyboarding it. So the higher you get, the better it gets. And if anybody's just logging on and you're not muted, if you could just mute yourself, that would be awesome. So after your scripting and storyboarding, you record. You make sure you got your lights, your camera, a good mic, and you have a whole bunch of fun. And we encourage you, like if you're filming, get a group of friends together or hire somebody so that you're not doing it by yourself. It's so hard to do quality filming when you're all by yourself, pressing record, trying to deal with batteries and memory cards and all that sort of stuff. It's really stressful. You need to just be in the game of recording. And then editing. Editing is a long process, or it can be, especially when you incorporate some story. That's why storyboarding is so important, and scripting, because if you're scripting and storyboarding, then you're basically just reading the script, and it makes it so much easier to go in and edit afterwards. We cut Blair's editing time in by, I don't know, probably 60% or more when we started scripting things. And then uploading to Wisty or Vimeo, and then setting up your autoresponders and making those as engaging as you possibly can. So step one for curriculum design, and this is the exercise part. We're just going to do the first 3 here. And this is a quick and dirty version of your setting up your curriculum. So we're just going to do these first 3 steps. I'm going to give you 10 minutes. And in the next 10 minutes, you're going to define your launch summit, what the end result is of the transformation. You're going to set up your checkpoints. So it's a good idea to think in means of time. So, are you creating a 21-day course? Are you creating 8 modules, etc.? And just like have an idea in mind so that you can design your chapter titles or checkpoint titles by that. And then to lay out the individual steps. All you're looking for is like a basic title for each of those. So, if you've got, let's just say you've got 3 checkpoints, and inside each of those checkpoints is 8 lessons, just kind of calculate what those lessons might be. It'll all be refined later. This is just about mind dumping. So decide on your course, write down whatever your course title is, your working title anyways. Do your transformation, lay out your checkpoints, and then your individual steps within those checkpoints. And I'll be available in the chat. You've got 10 minutes to do this exercise. The timer is set, so have fun. All right, that is 10 minutes. So this is just your initial mind dump. You can take as long as you need to get this really dialed in. But I just, this 10 minutes is just to demonstrate how much clarity you can get in 10 minutes. I mean, if you spent, we did 3 hours with a client the other day, and we entered into the session with no idea what she was going to create. And by the end, we had her course and mini course fully mapped out with exactly what the checkpoints would and each individual lesson were going to be for her like main premium course. And so if you spend like 3 hours really diving into this exercise, you can get a lot done. So that was step one, is just laying that out. And obviously, you probably all need a bunch more time on it, but you can do that once this is over. The next part of step one is, here's the next 4 steps you would take in this order. So once you have your lessons, your modules mapped out, then it's time to go back through each of them and map out your media. So defining what's going to be an audio exercise. And audio is huge. It's such a big part that you could use for your courses, that some of your lessons could be audio. You could do guided visualizations, guided meditations. When you, especially if you're doing something that's transformational, like that people are going to follow along and go through some form of perception shift or cellular transformation, a shift in consciousness. Audio is such a powerful tool, because when you're doing a video, they're projecting themselves onto the screen, onto the screen. Whereas when you have an audio, people can put their earbuds in, close their eyes, and go inside of themselves. And it's such a powerful medium for doing exactly that. Other medias, videos, handouts, your community could be considered a media piece. If you're doing live coaching, you can work that into the curriculum and know how you want it to be used and where. And then once you have that mapped out, it's time to write your scripts and your storyboards. And that's typically the longest part, but it can also be the most fun. This can be your creative writing time. And Andy and I, when we were doing the Great eCourse Adventure, we'd go for these epic day-long hikes where we'd map out, essentially we'd spend about 5 hours out on a hike, and we'd take our journals with us. And each checkpoint that you experienced in the Great eCourse Adventure was mapped in a single day of hiking. They would go out and be like, okay, what's checkpoint 5 going to be? And we would map out the 6 different lessons, exactly how you see it, lesson by lesson. And then we would kind of come up with the story, and we would start to write point form notes of the script. And then we would go home and we'd hop onto the computer, and I would flesh out the script, and then Andy would refine it. And that was our workflow, and it worked extremely well. And we're really efficient. We didn't have to spend nearly as much time in front of the computer as if we would have if we just stayed home and tried to do it all on computer. And then once your scripts are written and you feel really clear and you've communicated your vision to whoever you have on your film team, then it's time to book your date. And it might be 2 days, it might be 1 day, it might be 3 days, who knows? It depends on your course. I can't tell you how many days we spent in the studio doing the Great eCourse Adventure, but most people, hopefully you're not that ambitious if you're going the solo or small team. And then you spend countless hours editing, then you upload your videos, and you set up your autoresponders. Those are the next steps that you would take with your curriculum design. So let's move on to the second step, which is to map your student learning experience. Experience is the key word here. Your themification to turn your course into a world, rewards to motivate students with badges, prizes, and surprises, challenges to push their comfort zone and help them grow, calls to action to make. You have to make your call to actions clear and relevant, that at the end of your video, you should tell them exactly what they're to do, so that people are signing up for your e-course for you to guide them, to take them by the hand and walk them through whatever step-by-step process you're creating to help them get the result. And then the final phase of the experience design is to create a quality experience. If you're using green screen, then to really do a good job, to take tutorials and lessons and to get the proper lighting, the proper mic, and the proper camera so that it looks good. And this can take a little bit extra time, but in the end, you're going to be so happy that you did, because you're going to feel proud and you're really going to believe in the product that you're creating, which comes through in your sales copy and everything that you do. So your next exercise is with that curriculum outline that you just did. You're going to do the next couple here anyways, is to themify your course, to give your course a theme. The Great eCourse Adventure is a journey up a mountain. Our Outer Space Masterclass is a journey through outer space to the new world of online learning. The theme for the Green Screen Magic course is you're basically preparing to do this big TED Talk style presentation. And so along the way, you have to pitch yourself, you have to explain your story, and then you have to give the big presentation to a large audience. And so that's kind of the theme, is preparing for the big stage. And so your course is going to have a theme. Themes can be really simple. Like one of our students on the mountain here, he works with executives, and he teaches negotiation skills. He helps them to become better negotiators so they can get bigger contracts and better deals. And so his theme, that after a coaching session of working together, he was really struggling with that. He's like, my clients make hundreds of millions of dollars, and they're not going to want to do like this goofy thing that you guys do, even though he likes it. It's like, how do I theme my course? And so I got him to describe his favorite boardroom that he'd ever done business in. And so he described it. And so I said, well, what if your theme was like at the board table, and you bring him into the environment where he feels most comfortable? We created a mountain journey because we love going on adventures. And so we want our course to feel like an adventure for our students who also probably like going on adventures. And that's probably why it resonates with so many different people, is because we're all adventurous humans and we like being creative, and we're a little bit wild and out of the box. Whereas his was like, the background would be this beautiful boardroom, like exquisite. And the intro to each lesson could be like some little pano video footage of the boardroom, so that you could really bring them into that environment. And then in negotiations, they have a saying called "at the table," which is where you make the deal. And so that was going to be essentially where his lesson is going to be at the table. And it'd have these different breakout rooms and stuff like that within his community. So your theme, it can be really easy, or you can get wild like we did with the Great eCourse Adventure and have fun with it. So the exercise here, and we'll give you almost 10 minutes, will be to come up with a theme idea, and then how you want to gamify your course. Now, unless you have a budget and a tech team, don't use points or currency, because that's a lot more complex. However, with what Mighty Networks is coming out with within the next few months, or with LearnDash or Lifter LMS, all these other course builders, you can do badges. So think of a few badges that you could come up with that for each checkpoint they earn a badge. Just make something up. Like for the Great eCourse Adventure, it's backpack supplies, not badges that you earn. So, what is your reward system going to be? And make it in alignment with your theme. And then come up with 1 or 2 challenges that you could give your students that they have to do and come back to your community and share. So like this month, our challenge is to do this outline. Last month, it was to teach a webinar. And so think about some challenges that you can come up with. And in 10 minutes, we'll see how far you get. And if you keep going, if you get all that done, then you can start to think of some of the calls to actions within each lesson. But start with theming, gamifying, and challenges. And if you have any questions, I would be happy to answer. So once you themify your course, then it's coming up with some badges, really just thinking about what people would earn. What makes sense for your reward system? Um, and each of your courses, based on your theme and what people are doing, you'll be able to figure it out. It'll be fun. And that's where you have the community to brainstorm at the campfire as well. Coming up with challenges, making sure your calls to actions are extremely clear and doable for people. So now let's move on to step 3. So I don't want to take all day, which is to grow a thriving culture and community. So to come up with your shared purpose, the reason everyone is gathering, the culture, which is the common belief that everyone aligns with, participation, so making sure that there's quality conversations happening, and the hook factor, the reason people keep coming back to your social media space, wherever it might be located. So here's your third exercise. And we'll do this one. We'll take a little bit less time, so we have a bit of time for a Q&A at the end. Your first mission is to, should you take it, is to define your community's common purpose. What is the reason everybody is gathering in your social media space, the place that you are the curator of? Number 2 is write out the shared values and beliefs you all have. What is it that you all believe in? And perhaps the set of values is something that you've made up, and it creates a resonance with all of the people that are going to sign up for your course. And your values and your beliefs, it needs to be in your blogs. It needs to be the thing that you write about, the thing that you talk about. It needs to be in your sales copy. Like, this is what people are saying yes to. They're not necessarily saying yes to a course. Like for us with the Great eCourse Adventure, we talk about the old world of online learning that's really boring and ineffective. And we've discovered this other way of doing things. And if you want to learn something more innovative and exciting, then come on this journey with us. And the third thing to do is to write a bunch of ways that you can spark engagement and activity so that your students keep coming back. Come up with some hook factors. For us, the challenges and the progress log. The progress log is a huge one where you get to update your progress and watch yourself grow and to see that of others. And then the challenges keep people coming back. It refreshes the community every single month with introducing a new challenge. Those are just a couple ways that we've done it. So take 5 minutes to define your community's common purpose. 1 sentence if you can. And then write out a few shared values and beliefs that your community will abide by or that you really believe in. These are the culture creators. If you have questions, let me know. All right. So again, you can spend as much time when we're done here today. There's no right or wrong way to do it. It's going to take a whole bunch of experimenting to find out what works. And I think that's the thing is we need to give ourselves permission to experiment and try new things. The challenges a year ago, that was an experiment that Andy and I were like, let's just start doing challenges on things so that we could start working on our own projects. We'll start doing monthly challenges for the whole community based on the things that we want to be working on for ourselves so that we can just like log our progress as we're working on our own things and get other people in the community doing it. So it was kind of like selfish reasons for why we started doing monthly challenges, but then we saw how effective it was and we're like, oh man, this really works. So even like this month, the map out your course, that's exactly what I'm doing with the Green Screen Magic courses. We're developing the map, we're laying out the curriculum, we're starting to storyboard, etc. And in March is when we're going to start shooting it. So you can guess what challenges might be coming up in March. So let's go on to kind of the closure. It's all about the journey, not the destination. The more transformations you guide, the greater your skills for guiding transformations will be. Worry not about making a perfect e-course. Instead, focus on pouring your heart, soul, and creative expression into your e-course. Then launch it, improve it, and make it better. Your next course will always be better. So if you want to dig into this stuff more, you can always review checkpoints 4, 5, and 6. They really get into identifying your who, what, where, how, all those questions are taken care of in that, in those. And the other thing I'll just reiterate is go to nature and work on your course. You know, go walk. The more you move your body, the better the ideas get. Make yourself available to inspiration and carry a journal everywhere you go. I've got a little tiny pocket journal that I carry with me so that basically my practice is anytime I think about checking my emails or my social media on my phone, I go to my little tiny journal. This is a new practice that I'm starting, and I write down a new idea. And the idea could be about anything. It could just be a new idea. And instead of getting my dopamine rush from checking social media, which I don't really have anymore, but I still check my email a lot because for whatever reason, 90% of my income comes through email. And so that gives me a rush. And when I check it and I see, oh, new money came in, it's like, ding. And so instead of doing that, which is unproductive and it takes me away from creativity and being in whatever the flow of inspiration is, I'm now, when I feel the impulse to check, grabbing my little journal and writing down an idea. And I'm basically cultivating the inspiration through myself rather than looking for an outside source to give it to me. So take that, get into journaling, get a tiny journal, just a little thing that you could put in your pocket, that you could put in a purse, whatever you got. And then upload your insights to your document later on. You'll create far better and more exciting courses if you make half of your business day out in nature. So that's the story, folks. That is today's workshop. I hope this has been helpful for you. And I look forward to seeing what you're all going to map out this month. I'm definitely, we got some cool courses being built on the mountain. I love it. And such a diverse group here. Like, where did you all come from? Based on what we did today, I want to see some outlines. Make sure you all sign up for the February challenge, which is to map your course this month, which means your checkpoints, your lessons, coming up with your theme and your basic plans. So the next month, it comes time to script it. Script the script. All right. Wicked, everybody. Hope my 5 a.m. wake-up call was helpful for you, and I look forward to seeing you around the campfire.